Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Ligon. Today we're going to talk about inequalities and solving problems with inequalities. So let's take a look at this word problem here. You don't have to write the word problem down, but copy down the work. Okay? So Mrs. Ligon really likes running. She runs for 30 minutes a run right now and adds an additional 2 minutes to her workout every day. How long will it take for her to run for at least an hour or 60 minutes? So let's pick out the key parts of this word problem. The first part is that she runs 30 minutes right now. She adds 2 minutes to her workouts every day. So adds means, of course, that we're going to use a plus sign, the 2, but it's not just adding 2 once. It's going to happen every day. So we're going to indicate that by putting an x next to our 2. So 30 plus 2x. And then we want to know how long it will take for her to run at least an hour. So at least is a key word here. We're going to talk more about those later. But for right now, it's good to know that at least means we're going to use the inequality symbol greater than or equal to, meaning that she runs a minimum of 60 minutes, but she can run more than that. So now that we've picked out these keywords, let's write our problem. So we're going to write it as 2x plus 30 is greater than or equal to 60. When we have an inequality like this, we can solve it just like an equation. Just instead of an equal sign, we have an inequality symbol. So with the inequality symbol that we're going to treat like an equal sign for now, we're going to go ahead and solve this problem. First thing we want to do to get the x by itself is subtract 30 from each side. When we do 30 minus 30, those 30s cancel out, and then 60 minus 30 is 30. So we get 2x is greater than or equal to 30. Now we still need to get the x by itself, so we're going to divide both sides by 2, and we'll be left with x is greater than or equal to 15. Now there's a couple ways that we can write our answer. The way that we just wrote it is called the symbols form. Let's also write it on a number line. So we're going to just draw our arrows to indicate that our number line goes on forever. Then let's put the 15 on the number line. Then we're going to draw a circle to indicate that 15 is the number that we got for our answer. And then we need to shade on a side of the circle to show that it's greater than 15. So greater than on a number line, the higher numbers go to the right. So we're going to shade on the right side of the 15. So in addition to those 2 ways to write answers, we have a third way called interval notation. So let's look at all 3 ways again. We have the symbols x is greater than or equal to 15. We have our number line, where we have a circle filled in over our 15. And shading to the right of the 15. And then interval notation is going to look like this. We're going to have a bracket, the number 15, comma, infinity, and then a parenthesis around the infinity. And we'll talk more about why we use those symbols. So let's copy down this chart into our notes. Please ask the sub to pause the video so you have time to copy this down. We're going to use the number 3 as a number to work with while we're doing this. So the first that we have is x is greater than 3. We're going to write this same thing on our number line. So we'll draw 3 onto our number line. And then we're going to put a circle around the spot on the number line where the 3 goes. Because it's greater than, and we know that on a number line, the greater numbers are to the right, we're going to shade to the right. And then we're going to do our interval notation again. So in this case, our interval notation is going to have a parenthesis, 3, comma, infinity, and another parenthesis. Let's jump down to one that's similar, but has a little bit of a difference to this first problem. So we're going to do our 3 down here, and we're going to do x is greater than or equal to 3. You'll see the difference when we draw our number line. So again, we have a circle on the 3. This time we're coloring it in. We're still shading to the right. For our interval notation, we still have 3, comma, infinity. But let's take a closer look at what is different about these. So we have greater than and greater than or equal to. For greater than, we have an open circle. For the equal to, we color in the circle, showing that 3 can be an answer. The parenthesis and the bracket mean the same thing as the open and the filled in circle. We want to use parentheses when it's just greater than or less than, and we want to use the bracket when it's greater than or less than or equal to. In both cases, because it's greater than, we shade to the right. And if you look at the inequality symbols, it looks like a little arrow pointing to the right. So that helps us remember where to shade. Now let's take a look at the other 2 items on our chart. Again, we'll use the number 3, but this time we have x is less than 3. We're going to draw it on our number line in the same way with the open circle, but this time we're going to shade to the left. A good way to remember this is that less and left both sound very similar. So when you're shading less than, you're shading to the left. For our interval notation, it's very similar, but this time our inequality symbol also goes on the left. When the inequality symbol is on the left, that would be a negative infinity, because it's on the negative side of our number line. So one more time, this time with greater than, less than or equal to. The circle gets filled in. We shade to the left because it's less than. We have our negative infinity again because it's less than, but we're going to put a bracket around our 3 again. So again, ask the sub to pause the video and make sure that you have all of this copied down, because this is going to be very important, because when we do any problems, you're going to have to write your answers in all 3 forms. So again, we'll practice this. X is less than 5. So we're going to write x is less than 5 using the less than symbol. We're going to draw this on our number line. 5 goes in the middle. We're going to put a circle around the 5. Because there's no equal to, we're not filling in that circle. And we're shading to the left of the 5. Remember, less and left, they sound alike. Now we're going to write it in interval notation. The infinity symbol goes on the left again, and it's negative. And then we put parentheses around both sides, because it's not equal to. There will always be a parenthesis around infinity, because we can never be equal to infinity. So never ever put a bracket around the infinity symbol. We're going to try another practice problem now. So again, we're solving, and now we're going to write our answer in all three forms. So we're still going to treat our inequality symbol like an equal sign for right now. We're going to subtract the 5 from each side. And we're going to be left with 2x is greater than negative 2, because 3 minus 5 is negative 2. To get rid of the 2, we're going to divide by 2 on each side. And we're going to be left with x is greater than negative 1. Now again, we have to draw our number line and our interval notation. Okay, so let's look at the forms of our solution. The greater than symbol kind of looks like it's pointing to the right, and so we shaded to the right on our number line. We also wrote our infinity symbol on the right. This next part is very important. If you divide or multiply by a negative number, you must flip the inequality sign. Please make sure you have this written down in your notes, because this is going to be really important and will help you get the correct answer for all of the rest of your problems. So let's go ahead and solve this. I'm going to divide by negative 3 on each side so I can get the x by itself. I'm dividing by a negative number here. So when I write my solution, it's going to be x is less than negative 2. See how the sign flipped direction there? Because I divided by a negative number. I'm going to give you some time to make sure that you have this copied down, because this is very, very important. One more practice problem together before I have you do the practice problems on your own on the worksheet the sub will give you. So we're going to, again, solve this, and then we're going to write our answers in our three forms. So we're solving for x. We're treating our inequality symbols similarly to an equal sign. I'm going to try to get all my x's on one side, so I'm going to subtract 3x from each side. Okay, so 2x minus 3x is negative 1x. So we have negative 1x plus 5 is greater than negative 5. Now we want to keep the x by itself, so we're going to subtract that 5 from each side, which will give us negative x is greater than negative 10. We need to get rid of that negative symbol, so we're going to divide each side by negative 1. We're dividing by a negative number, so that means we have to flip our inequality symbol. So we're going to have positive 1x is less than 10. So now we're going to go ahead and put this into our number line and interval notation form. It's less than, and our inequality symbol is pointing to the left, so when we draw our number line, we're going to shade to the left of 10. Because it's not equal to, we have an open circle. Now when we write our interval notation, our infinity symbol goes on the left, and we use parentheses around the whole thing. Now you guys are going to practice solving these problems on your own. The substitute will hand out this worksheet for you. Please do as much of it as you possibly can. Remember, this work counts as a quiz grade, and as long as you try every problem, you'll get full credit. I'll see you guys tomorrow.